Why did USCIS approve my I-130 but not my I-485? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. Here at Hacking Immigration Law, we handle hundreds of marriage-based green cards every year. It's the main thing we do besides suing USCIS. We have many of these cases, and I wanted to talk to you about a situation that's been coming up a little bit on my Immigration Answers live show, which you should check out on YouTube. Here's the situation. A U.S. citizen files an I-130 petition for the benefit of their spouse. That foreign national spouse also files an I-485. Those cases are filed together, and they both receive receipt notices with the same receipt dates. USCIS may approve the I-130 with an interview or without an interview, but they don't approve the I-485. Now, this is a very strange circumstance. This is not how it's supposed to happen. The thing you need to understand is that typically, in 98% of the cases, the I-130 and the I-485 get approved together. But right now, things are a little bit different at USCIS, where they're trying to speed things up, and we're seeing them approve I-130s, and then they don't necessarily get around to the I-485. This might happen in several different ways. One, like I said, they might approve the I-130 without an interview, or the thing that I want to talk about in this video is when they have an interview, they approve the I-130, but not the I-485. Now, of course, the I-130 petition is solely directed to whether or not the marriage is valid. Was the U.S. citizen legally available to marry? Was the foreign national legally eligible to marry? Those are the only questions on the I-130. Is this a real marriage? Do I, the USCIS officer, believe that these two people are legally married and that they did it because they are in love and not in order to convey an immigration benefit to the foreign national? That's the sole inquiry on an I-130. So in a way, if you submit a strong marriage case, the I-130 part's sort of easy. Like, it's important. You got to put a lot of evidence into it. You got to put a lot of effort into it. But that's sort of the easy part. The tricky part is the 485. Now, when I started practicing immigration law, the I-485, which is the form that the foreign national files in order to adjust status, that form was 4 pages long. 4 pages long, and the questions went all the way across the form. The form now is like 22 pages long, and it's split down the middle, and there's questions on 2 columns worth. So it's basically a 40-page document, and it's full of questions. And each of these questions are designed to trip you up to figure out why you can't get lawful permanent residence. So the I-130 is still a lot more complicated than it used to be, but it's nowhere near as complicated as the I-485. And each question on the 45 is related to a legal concept in the Immigration and Nationality Act that might prevent someone from being admissible to the United States and might prevent them from getting that green card. So, like I said, in the vast majority of cases, the I-130 and the 45 are approved together. But now I want to talk about what happens when the I-130 is approved, but not the 45. Something is wrong here. If you haven't hired an attorney by this point, where you have an I-130 and your 45 has been pending for months, then I think you need to think about hiring a lawyer, because things are going off the rails and the case might be denied. There's something in the file that makes the officer think they can't approve the case. There's something that makes them think that the foreign national is inadmissible. Now, obviously, there's situations where you go to your interview and they ask you for a little bit of extra evidence. I'm not talking about those situations so much, although I am, because you could get a request for evidence and you could submit that request for evidence, and yet they still sit on the 45. And of course, nothing really matters till the 45 is approved, because that's how you get status. That's how you get your green card. That's how you become a lawful permanent resident in the United States. So if they have approved the I-130 but not the 45, an alarm bell should be going off. You should be worried. You should be concerned. You should say to yourself, boy, what is wrong with my case? And so when I talk to people on the Immigration Answer Show, or when I'm talking to a potential client, I often go back all the way to their original immigration history. I want to know everything about them. I want to know everything about their criminal history, about their immigration history, and I'm looking for a clue to see what is it that is probably causing USCIS to slow down this case. Why haven't they done what they do in every other kind of case, where they approve the I-130 and then right away they approve the 45? Like I said, a request for evidence might change that a little bit, and I might give them a little bit more of a pass and not worry so much if that's the situation. But in this video, I want to make sure that you understand that if your I-130 has been approved and your 45 has been pending for a really long time, something is wrong. You may need to sue USCIS. You may need an attorney's help briefing why you are admissible, and why whatever the issue we think it is something that you can overcome and get your lawful permanent resident status. So I never know what the issue is. I have to do my best to try to figure it out, to guess, and to talk to the client and talk to the spouse and figure out, boy, what is it? What is it? And I really spend a lot of time thinking about it, digging into it, and trying to determine what is it, what is causing them to delay, because they want to get the case off their books anyway. It's part of their track numbers. They need to get cases either approved or denied. A case that's unopened or unfinished, that's not good for them. So there's something holding it back. There's something that you need to worry about, and you need to help your lawyer dig into it and figure out exactly what it is. Because if you don't, you're probably going to receive a notice of intent to deny or an outright denial. So I want you to understand, I think I've said it many times on this video, but I think you got it. If your I-130 has been approved and your I-485 remains pending, you should be concerned. You should start taking measures to protect yourself, to make your case stronger, to figure out why they're worried about whether or not you are admissible, and then what in the world can you do to try to prove to them that you are admissible. I hope this makes sense. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, and if you're in such a situation, or if you're thinking about hiring a lawyer to help you through the immigration process or in suing USCIS because your 485 has been taking so long, you should call us at 314-961-8200. You can also email us about your case, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. We also have our Facebook group. It's called Immigrant Home. We'd love to have you join us in Immigrant Home. It's a wonderful place where people trade their immigration information all the time. They talk about processing times, they talk about service centers, they talk about field offices, they talk about their experiences at their interviews, and they're talking about the whole immigration process. And it's a very welcoming place. We have thousands of immigrants in there who talk about their cases every single day. We'd love to have you join us. And speaking of joining us, why don't you join us for the Immigration Answer Show Live, where I answer people's immigration questions 3 or 4 times a week. I try to tackle all questions, all comers. I go live without a net. I have no agenda, no script. I just sit there and listen to people ask me questions, and I answer as many of them as I can in just 1 hour. We'd love to have you there. So find us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and then you can also text the word SHOW, SHOW, to 314-470-3300. And if you text the word SHOW to that number, you will receive a text whenever we go live, and you'll be able to come into the waiting room and get ready to ask me whatever immigration question that you have. Thanks so much, and have a great day.